Alright, round one against an already friendly opponent, Paravel. You want to play first? Heck yeah. And we gotta keep, we're missing our, whatchamacallit, our second planes, but if we draw it, that'll be awesome. But we have a one drop. I'm not gonna put the Ordeal on the Vortex Elemental, even though that is an argument to do. I think I'd rather just save it for one of these guys. But no, definitely not gonna mulligan. My opponent mulligans. Just get that guy out there. Thoughtseize. Ooh. Okay. My opponent gets to... What would I do? I would probably pull out the Wave Crash. Oh no, Wing Spirit. So my opponent's scared of me drawing that second planes, which I did do. And now I get to decide. I think an Ordeal on a Wave Crash Shrine is too good, especially against a black player, because once you get this to 5 mana, it takes a bit of a while. I'm going to be able to, get the Ordeal going before anything like a a Sip of Hemlock comes down, and then outside of Sip of Hemlock, like I'm pretty far away from it being anything super relevant. Definitely going to play the Wave Crash Triton. Might have had an argument to play my second planes there because I do have, of course, another Wingsteed Rider and Phalanx Leader. But my opponent didn't know that I do the second planes. My opponent had seen that one. Oh. Looks like, oh, yeah, ouch. Yeah, my opponent didn't have a whole lot. My opponent knew I had the Ordeal, so nothing was going down. However, I'm being nice to my opponent because I like really friendly players. But my opponent shouldn't have shown me that. I didn't know what my opponent's second color was. And now I know that my opponent's actually playing a pretty aggressive build. Could have been better than Mold 6. I'm not too sure what the original build was, or what the original hand was, to know if that would have been better, but also need to know the deck, so I can't comment on that part. But I do see that my opponent is going fairly aggressive. I don't think I have any good sideboard options. I have this Annul. Didn't see anything that's really relevant, that one enchantment. So I'm going to keep it the same way, and just try to continue to be fast. So my opponent was saying, thought could have mulled, but... So definite improvement on the side. Cool beans. So my opponent keeps saying good stuff. I'll keep this. I'm a little worried because my opponent actually has an aggressive build, but I'll be able to play my Area Worshippers down, and having a God's Willing Shrine Tactics is pretty nice. And I don't really want to risk mulliganing into Oblivion here. So depending upon just how fast I am, I could be in trouble or not, but 2/4s are really great at stabilizing. So I'm excited for that. We'll see how much damage I take, though, before that happens. What am I most worried about? The Minotaur? No, that's not what I'm worried about. I was going to say the Minotaur with haste, Skull. Oh, I can't remember any of the names. Ooh, here comes another Thoughtseize. How many do you have in your deck? Paraveil? Probably just one, just drew it again. If I were my opponent, I'd probably just take the Area Worshippers out. I don't think what my opponent takes is particularly worrisome. It's much more about my opponent now knows how ridiculously slow my hand is, and should be very clear that the game plan now is just attack, 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 and try to beat me before I can stabilize. Ordeal is a nice rip. Going to F6. There's nothing for one mountain that will change on the turn. My opponent knows what my other cards are. So I have to decide right now if I can afford to play my Area Worshippers into a removal spell. What removal spell gets it? Lash of the Whip can come down, take it out. Because I could either like hold it for next turn and save, keep it with my God's Willing. which I think is what I'm going to do. Keep my God's Willing up on the Observant Alciad and try to trade it off with the Tormented Hero. I don't care about this 1 toughness, so mostly I'm just worried about like removal spells. Because next turn I can play the Area Worshippers and keep God's Willing up. But I get completely blown out if my opponent's able to kill the Area Worshippers. And get me down to 5, and then I'm really, really in dangerous mode, especially with a Tormented Hero that can get targeted and such. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do the God's Willing here, which is fine. I did want to use it to get something out of my opponent's hand. Gonna do red. I don't need that guy. And I will trade off here if my opponent lets me, which my opponent does. What does my opponent have? Coordinated Assault. But I have... No, it doesn't matter. It's protecting... The creature is the one doing the damage. But at least it prevent a lot of damage here, because I could have died there. And then having Area Worshippers with Trained Tactics back up is nice. My opponent knows about the Triton Tactics, and unfortunately I'm with so much defense, this ordeal is going to do so little. So I don't know if I can bounce back from that. It depends if my opponent has a good top end or not, and is able to do anything. You know, draw into a 5 or 6 mana awesomeness. Ooh, that is not good. So I'm dead to anything that targets anything. Wavecrash Triton is kind of nice. What do I do? Do I have ways to kill the Crone Conscriptors? Not really. Alright, so something targets my Crone Conscriptors. Am I just dead? Not really, because I can tap things down. But I feel like I need to start getting Area Worshippers online, which means I need to attack it. Attack with it. And I'm actually willing for it to trade with anything. And my game plan isn't necessarily to, yeah. So the way I survive is when my opponent does like a Crone Conscriptor targeting, staying the Wavecrash Triton, I have to Triton Tactics. Alright. Bummer is I'm not going to be able to get the trigger off of it, but that's what I have to do. So this happens 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to do the Triton Tactics. And then who do I want to not attack? I want this guy to not attack. Because I actually want the... Oh, this is still can't block this turn. Shoot, should have done the Crone Conscriptor. Oh, I'm dead. That was a bad call. Wasn't paying attention to what the targeting was. That was really dumb. I wasn't even looking at what that guy does. I can't pay for it, so I don't get my bird. And now my opponent just gets to do a, you know, this guy can't block the Conscriptors, and then kill me, because I can only block 1 damage, and that's a total of 6. So that's bad. It definitely needed to have tapped the Crone Conscriptors down, and then my opponent wouldn't have had blocks. So I deserve to lose that game, that's for sure. Alright, still don't feel like I have anything to deal with what I care about for my opponent's deck. Would like to have a nice quick draw, and might want to mulligan somewhat aggressively. The Vortex Elementals, the only thing I really have, plus I guess a Voyage's End to deal with the Chrome Conscriptors, which is really just a tempo thing, which my deck should be able to deal with okay. It is time to consider that time to feed. But no, I'm on the play. I do want to be super fast, so we'll keep it the same way. Yes, I definitely want to play first. And we got a really nice starting hand, so no. Prevails mulliganing, somewhat aggressive. Down to 5, that's not good. Down to 4. That is a bummer. And my opponent just conceded. So my opponent was kind of fun and interesting. Kind of sad. Anyway, I paused because I wanted to say something because, again, I like really friendly players. I think that's cool. Although my opponent was pretty impulsive to just go ahead and mull, and then concede. I think even at 4, you still try to keep things. But who knows? My opponent had absolutely nothing. Well, I guess I got lucky, and now we're going on to the second round.